I'm just trying to get the slides right. Hello, Clive. Hello, Pamela.
Hi, Leela. Sorry, I'm just getting set up. Graham is joining as well.
No worries. Take your time. Me too. I'm just trying to get the slide. Can you all see the slides now? Can you?
Picture of the temple.
Yes. Okay, thanks. Yeah, because I'm using three screens, so I'm not too sure which one you're looking at. Okay. Right. So I think it's 7 p.m. and I know time is precious. So I think we just crack on. And because this is a very formal first year learning class, transformation class, which is a translation. So we are going to do the formal ritual. It's 1, 2, 3. So if you I'm sure you don't have a temple at home yet, so that's why we prepare this picture of the temple. So if we can all stand up, one, and then we can just face the screen and take three bows together. First bow, second bow, and the third bow. All right, good evening, everybody, and now please be seated. Okay, so in the future, when you have your temple, then we can just face the temple. But at the moment, we can use the picture instead. Okay, so welcome to tonight's class. I know everybody's very busy, but I think in terms of Dao learning, it's just about finding the time, and the more we learn, the more we will be able to understand and to prioritize what is the most important task we need to do in our very short lifespan life. Okay, so today we are going to look at the extraordinary nature of the remarkable lineage of Tao. So during the whole class, if you have any questions, please very welcome to write them down, and we can, if we have time left in the end, we will be able to discuss and look at it again together. All right, so today we're going to look at mainly about the lineage of Tao, because I think it's just about like everything that we learn or we study in our society or from our school, we usually have the source to tell us where this is from, like who is saying it, like Socrates, Confucius or Lao Tzu, or from which country. So in terms of a Dao, or in terms of the Dao within, throughout the centuries, there are so many schools and disciplines they try to identify this or it, but they can try very hard, but because we uh, we talked about this before, why so far to date we are unable to really name it yet is because we are using everything that we learn from our world, from this earth, from our education, from our school. Therefore, if it's very difficult to try to name something that already exists before other creation, that's including us. And that's why so far it's very difficult to name it, but we all know something is functioning. So today we're just going to look at why it is extraordinary. So there's a saying, seeing is believing. So by seeing, it's because I can see because I have my eyes, yeah. But it, for like we're talking about visual impaired disabled people, but they also have eyes, but they can't see. So seeing is not believing. By having eyes to see is not guarantee that we will be able to see. Also, seeing is believing. Like, okay, so in terms of looking at this phrase, seeing is believing. So I need to be able to see before I can believe in something. But in order to see, my eyes have to be open. Yeah. But during the night, when I sleep, when I go to bed, I won't be able to go to sleep with my eyes open. So my eyes are shut. So when my eyes are shut, you can close your eyes now. I can still see something in my dreams, from my conscience, or from my past memories, or even sometimes I can imagine something that hasn't happened yet, like something I would like them to happen that way, but they haven't happened yet. So what is this? So if seeing is believing, so what is this in my brain, in my head? So by learning about Dao, or by Dao cultivation, by knowing, is to know that there is on the surface, yeah, on the surface, all the features, they won't be able to function when the life left, like our heart or our liver, our kidneys. They won't be able to function when there's no life. In this case, we call Tao as life. So when life's left, nothing is functioning. So by learning about Tao, or by having this Tao blessing, or Tao cultivation, we gradually to start to understand and to realize everything on the outside cannot function if there isn't the Tao life within. So by learning Tao is to learn there's a real master within everybody, and that's why Tao is equal, and Tao is makes equal to everyone. So that's why we need to look at what makes Tao extraordinary. Well, because Tao is what our life is from, is made of, and also by speaking about the extraordinary nature of Tao, we just look at Lao Tzu and Confucius. They are one of the most intelligent, wise, and very famous, well-known scholars and philosophers. Even they were learning about Tao, let alone others, let alone us. So we are going to look at what makes them to leave everything behind and to want to learn about what is the Tao within. Right. So here's a little bit of the introduction. So in English, we say Tao, yeah. But the full name, today we are going to introduce the full name of Tao. So the full name is transliteration. And we introduced before, in the old time, the first translators was from Hong Kong. So they speak Cantonese. So the pronunciation is different. And the reason we need to introduce this is because in the future, when we join with other Dao members together, you will definitely hear about this. So the full name of Dao is called 一贯道. However, in the website, I don't know if you can see, the website, it says I Kuan Dao. So I and then Kuan and then Tao. So this is the first translation from the translators in Hong Kong. So no one really to change that. So I think they were trying to translate the sound E. So for some reason, students in Asia, it's a bit like IKEA. We tend to say IKEA, and then likewise in here, because Dao, the full name of Dao is 一贯道, so it becomes IE. So anyway, so in the future, if we attend any assembling together, and if we hear 一贯道, that is Dao. So now we are going to look at, so what does 一贯道 mean? So 一 means one, and 贯 means through. and Dao means the truth. So what is one? One is the one before two can exist, before two comes along. So one is there before everything or anything can happen. So after one, that's two. So what is two? Two is tall and short, rich and poor, black and white, better and worse. So this is a two. So when it comes to two, we come into the position of compare. We start to compare. So that's why we sometimes we sometimes say there's nothing we can do. If they want to do this, they have to do it. I have to remember I didn't do anything wrong. So that's their the choice. But in that sort of a statement, we are still trying to find a balance. But in here, we try to remember, go back to one. So one is where there's no comparison. There's no right and wrong. There's no black and white. So go back to where we come from. That is one. That's the first principle. That is the first position we were from, and that's what we are. So that's one. So E means one. And guan, that's through. So what does that mean, through? So this one is prevails everywhere in the world we live, the earth, the universe, the galaxy, the dark energy is in everywhere. So okay. If it is raining outside and I use umbrella, and before I can come into the house, I will just shake my umbrella to get the rain out of my umbrella so it won't get wet. Because I turn the umbrella so the rainwater will just leave the surface of umbrella. So what is this? This is the gravity I'm making. I'm shaking the umbrella to get rid of the water. Likewise, we are on this earth. We stay on the surface of this world. We don't live inside the earth. But this earth is turning hundreds of kilometers per hour, but we are not being thrown into the universe. Why is that? Because gravity, everybody knows that, but no one really knows why does gravity exist and why is the ratio is so perfect that the gravity can just grab everything in, because only 0.1 different forces will make tremendous difference in terms of the living conditions to human beings. So this is to look into the strong and the weak nuclear forces. Why is this making it so strong? And why is this get together and then we have atom, we have electron. So we are in a stage of understanding. There are so many particles around us, but by naming it, it's just like learning the birds, like robins. We got so many robins in our garden. Yeah, the name robins is from English, and I'm sure if I go to Japan, they will have a different way of naming robins in their language. And if I go back to Taiwan, I have my own language to name robins. If I go to 100 countries, and they will have 100 different languages to say exactly the same thing. But by knowing those 100 different names, I know nothing about robins. I didn't even know robins is from where. I didn't even know what sort of food robins eat, or when do they do they like hot summer or do they like winters? I know nothing. So by knowing the names, by knowing the name of gravity, by knowing the name of universe, by quantum entanglements, we know very little about what is under the surface. But the Tao that is the true, that is the true that keeps everything happen in the right order. So life, like us, human being, will be able to survive in this space, in this time, on this earth, on this ball. That's the true we're trying to get into. The true that is invisible, but it is there. That I think I used the word regularity. The regularity that keeps everything happened in the right time and at the right place. That is behind everything that we can see. That's the truth in everything. So the truth will remain as truth wherever it is discovered or being introduced by whichever the different language, because it's just like diamond, isn't it? So if diamond is a real diamond, if a diamond is real in the UK, then it will stay real in any different countries. And if this diamond is real now, it will still be a real diamond in, I don't know, 5,000 years later. The truth just won't change. So this is the Tao that within us that we are looking at, the same aspect. So if we look at the universe or the world we live in here. Oh, I forgot. I should have shown this first. So this is the world that we live in. Yeah, everything that is knowledge, a piece of knowledge there for us to know how to call them and what they are functioning. And then therefore we live in a world that we can live in at the moment. And the truth, because it happens everywhere, including us. So we are one of the members of this world. So we are going to find the truth within us that is exactly the same as everybody else in this world. So what would be, I usually ask about members when we are at the class. I will always say, I will always quote what Lao Tzu said, Tao is in us, we are in Tao. If Lao Tzu is not lying, then in your room now, in my room now, what is the evidence that I can see that Tao is there? I always ask them. So the evidence of a Tao in my study is I'm still on the surface of the earth. I know there's gravity. I don't know how gravity works. I don't know what's the formula of gravity, but I know because gravity, so I can survive. Therefore, likewise, there's the truth that is embedded in everybody, and then in children, in different nationality. So, what is this truth in us? It's the ability that we can feel. We don't need to talk about if this heart is decent or is evil. No, it's the ability that we can feel. We can feel exactly the same. When it's winter, we feel cold. When we are happy about something, we feel jolly. When we witness something sad, we feel like we have sympathy or empathy. So this heart that can feel the outside world and will be able to feedback that sort to that situation, that is the same in everybody and also in babies. So in here, I would like to share a short video. I don't know if you have seen this video, but I think this is just very no. Okay. Before we play this video, the reason I would like to share this with everybody was because something that is already in us and it will function even before we go to school. There are so many things that we think we learn that from school, but no, sometimes this innate nature, this innate quality, it's there, and then it will be able to be useful when the situation arises like this. I don't know if you can hear, but do you hear? It's very short. It's just a very short video, but I feel like that explains all. It's just a little baby. I don't even know how old that baby is, but the baby is he looks worried when he realized the mother is crying. And I'm sure if it's his sister or someone else, even a stranger, I'm sure the baby will be able to express the concerns or trying to make sure, are you okay? So this moment of functioning, the baby hasn't been to school yet. Hasn't got a job yet. It hasn't been learning from the society yet. And that is where, and that is the memory we have to try to remember that we have that. But because the society and everything else, we tend to forget, or we tend to not to show the part that's most vulnerable. Sometimes we choose not to show that we care because we are afraid of, oh, my care or my kindness might not receive the same or something that I expected. Therefore, we decide, no, I don't, even though I care, but I choose not to. But anyway, by looking at this, I feel like this is a reminder, something that's already within. It doesn't need any language. It doesn't need to go to school or having a PhD. No, it is right there. And it is the most beautiful thing that everyone has it. And our job is to remind everybody that we come across, especially those that dislike us, is to remind those people that they have the exactly same beautiful quality that is just like what the baby has. And by having that, by having remembered that quality, so many things can change. So many difficult situations, like a very tough time, will be able to alter it by being the soft one first. I know it's a habit that we respond. We are like a mirror, isn't it? So if people smile at us, then we smile back. But if on the opposite, if people are rude to us, and then of course we have to be rude too, because I can't I can't I can't be nice to you now, otherwise you think I'm weak. So this sort of a theory, it has so many uh, flaws in terms of a result, in terms of a consequence that we are getting in the end. So by learning about Tao, that we know, even though everybody's doing it, even though everybody is competing who is the loudest or who is the meanest, but what's the consequence in the end? Is this going to change anything or to make my life easier? So by learning about Tao is to be more practical and to be able to pause and to think about if this result is what I will be able to allow me to go to bed tonight without any regrets. And or if this result is going to make my family happier. So this is the learning that we are looking at. And we won't be able to look at the session from the second year learning year, but there's a book and that was written via handwriting of course by our Heavenly Matter, and I took just two sentences I would like to share with everybody tonight. Is at the moment, myself included, and I'm learning as well, I spend half of my awakened time, when I'm awake, I spend half of it on trying to make a living. Sometimes even more, maybe more than half, trying to make a living. And then when I come back from work, I am exhausted. I just don't have the energy to do anything else, not even to look after myself and my well-being. So I took these two sentences I would like to share with you tonight. Our Heavenly Master said, I don't want my children's money. I don't want my children's gold, diamond. I just want one thing from my children. That is the kind heart. That's the kind heart that was given to every of my child before they are descended to earth. So by having this kind heart, just like that baby, the little baby, showing the kindness. And the reason I took these two sentences is because our temper is very important in terms of our Dao cultivation. The easiest way to change our life or to better our destiny is starting to look after our kind heart first. And then the next time, trying to grasp this moment. The next time when you are being kind to others, remember that moment and using exactly the same moment when we're facing somebody that is so difficult to us and using the same kindness. I'm not saying this will change everything in that moment, no, but it's practice. Tao is all about practice. And by using this kindness to face everybody, then we treat everybody as equal. Of course, it takes time, but that's where we start. And by doing this, gradually, we start to realize that's who I am by being kind to the other me, because we keep saying oneness, oneness, there's no separation. And if there's no separation, then why we are having having different attitudes towards everybody? So yes, there's no separation, but that is like miles away goal. that is the target that is so far away from now. Before we can reach that target, before we can reach the oneness, there's actually some steps that needs to be taken. And one of them is to be the brave one. By being brave, I'm not saying I don't feel pain, or not saying I don't feel terrified. No, no, no. By being brave is to be the one that is the most mature in the situation. And by being most mature, it's not about, telling people what to do, but it's telling myself, I know my emotions is about to burst, but being adult about it, being mature about it, is I will be able to get myself to listen to myself. And the reason I can listen to myself is I'm already seeing what will happen if I do this one. But of course, if I couldn't control what I'm going to say at the next second, then yes, then I will have to endure the consequences that I create, because this is a decision. So slowly, we remember the next time when we are so kind and like angel. Remember that moment and using exactly the same moment towards those people uh, who don't favor us as the rest do. And because according to our holy teacher, the best place to cultivate ourselves or to cultivate the Tao within, it isn't in a mountain, isn't like far away in a very posh hotel. No, the best place to cultivate, to better ourselves is in the life we are given, in our family, in our workplace, and in our relationship between our family members or siblings, all that. So this is the best place because it has all the ingredients that we need. Like for example, if we can't I have a very quick temper, and then very quick, and then it's slowed down now because I'm hurting myself from over the course of years, and I just don't feel it's worth it. And then thank you to Dao Society, I start to be able to make a change, make a difference, and then all this difference can only be seen by putting into actions. So lately, I realized why we have a 5 years of classes for free for everybody, and not just in Taiwan, in everywhere. I think it's because cultivated Dao cultivation, it sounds like very far from us. Bettering ourselves, yeah, Dao cultivation, bettering ourselves, bettering our destiny and fate. It's very difficult because we are not facing others. We are facing our own ego. We are facing ourselves. So it is ourselves that's making everything difficult. So we are the most, that's why the saying, I am the biggest enemy to myself. If I can conquer my ego, if I can conquer those bad memories, then everything will be easy. Because the same situation will only upset me, but not you. So that is my problem, not the situation's problem. It is me, why I allow myself to be upset by that. No, no, no. If this doesn't bother you, it won't bother me. This is the way how we start to see things change, because we start to get them into practice. Okay, so this part is just to realize the truth isn't on the surface, or isn't visible or observable, but it's lying within, in the nature, in the world we live, even in the little children. So this is where we start to find the evidence that the truth, the unconditional truth, can be found in everything that we live. And this is one of the ways to find them and to see the oneness. I think this is the so-called oneness is because it exists in everybody. Right, so the next slide, this is just to review about the extraordinary bits. What makes Dao different than others? And this is just one of it. This is just rigor mortis that we look at for many times. And I think this is the part that we said in so many times, that what makes Dao different at the moment, because there are so many different trainings and classes that is available to the public. But what makes Dao different or stand out among others is because Dao at the moment is the one that has the heavenly mandate within. And what is the heavenly mandate? Heavenly mandate is the key to make the impossible possible. So throughout all the trainings or all the mindfulness or everything that is available in the market, this is Tao is the only thing, the only key that will make this happen, not everything else. So this is just a review to including this. I think we all look at the pictures before. They all look very peaceful, and if we show the pictures to others who are just beginning to learn about Tao, they won't be able to tell the difference. And these are the evidence that Tao, why Tao is so different than anything that we know from school, from friends who go to a retreat all the time. This is the strongest evidence that we build our faith upon, because our life is temporary, very, very short, and this is infinity. Because after this physical ends, where are we going to go? We can't take this physical with us. Only the one within is going to last. And only realizing the Tao within and knowing where to go that make us look at like this. And so far, no science will be able to explain, oh, why? Why is that? Because the true master goes out from where you should instead of trying to escape. So this and the reason we have Tao in at this time is because in the book from the Heavenly Matter, she also said we will get to that book in the second year of learning, but in that book, Holy Matter said in the very, very, very beginning, when the earth is formed, so everything was ready, and there was one thing missing. That is, in this whole earth, there was no human. There was no one wanted to come to govern this world. Anyway, we have been sent. We descended from heaven to come to this earth to govern, and then years, decades, centuries later, we are now being governed by this world. And this was seen in even before we came to this world. That's why Heavenly Matter wrote this down. She said, by the time when the earth is about to end, she will send the holy teachers with a heavenly mandate, and then there will be evidence that you can see. And this is one of the evidence that was mentioned in the book. And in the book, Heavenly Matter also mentioned about before we became human, we are all very divine. You guys must be one of the Buddhas, one of the Bodhisattvas. And the reason I say that is because in the book, Heavenly Matter said, if you introduce anyone to come to Tao Blessing, and after Tao Blessing, they believe everything. They want to know more. Maybe not straight away, but they want to know more. And they make their time to come to Tao seminar, and they want to participate more. Maybe not every time, but they want to know more, even if they can't make it because they're busy, they're working, but they have the thirst. They want to know more. If we come across anyone like this, they are the Buddhas already before they came to the earth. Why is that? Because that's the inbuilt, that's the embedded memory before they came to this world. And that's why I say you guys are already divine. Before we live into this device, this is our device, our physical device. Before we came into this device, you are already Buddhas. You are already Bodhisattvas. And we came here. It's a very tough life to live in because we have to do so many things. But because we want to know more about what is this Tao, every time when I go, I feel fulfilled. I feel happy. And I can't find this sort of same happiness elsewhere. Every time when we come across people that I'm talking about, you guys, I know they are the ones I'm looking for. They are the ones they have been looking for something as well. That's why we met. So in this book, Heavenly Matter remind us there's a reason why we have the tendency for something, and those evidence are actually where our faith should be built upon. I would like to just spend just a couple of minutes to talk about this grandpa on the right. I just learned that this grandpa he had his blessing quite late. So he only had like 18 years after he had his blessing. But after his blessing, he was very very sincere. But because he didn't go to school, he wasn't very educated. He only talked about one thing. So every time when he met someone new, and then if he would like to invite them to also have their Dao blessing, he said exactly the same thing to those strangers or people. He said Dao, 3 words. He said Dao is good. That's what he said for 18 years. And then but because he wasn't very educated, so he didn't become like a lecturer or the long master, but he was a temple host because his children. And then within this 18 years, there's something extraordinary happened. So one day he was on his bike going out, and then he took a turn left because he wanted to cross, but he was in the red light was on, but he ignored it. He just turned, and the moment he turned, he hit a lorry with a 10 wheels lorry, like very big lorries, and he was on his bike. So people on the street or around was like screaming because they all shout out exactly the same thing. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. The grandpa's gone. But but no, he didn't. So what happened? So the lorries, the driver from the lorries came out from the lorries and just look at the grandpa. And the grandpa look at him. And then they look at the lorry. The lorry was like how to say that? It's been hit. And there's a hole on the lorry. And so the lorry driver look at the lorry and say to the grandpa, you need to pay me this. You need to pay me. I don't have insurance because that was a long time ago. The insurance wasn't wasn't like essential. Anyway, so he said to the grandpa, you need to pay me this. I saw you in the car and then you turned. Where is the car? And the grandpa said, no, I can't drive. This is my bike. I was on my bike. So the lorry driver, no, I saw you in the car. Your bike will never be able to make damage like this because there's a hole in on the lorry. It looks like it been hit by the car. But they just look around, there's no car, only a bike. And the front wheel of the bike is a bit bended, and that's it. And then they went into the policeman get involved, but they couldn't find a car. And what they could see was the grandpa on the floor. So what happened in the end? The grandpa was okay, and the lorry driver had to pay the grandpa $680. so, so, so this is what happened. So this is what I learned about this grandpa. He didn't know anything. He didn't uh, go to school, but what he did within these 18 years, when every time he met someone new and wanted to invite them, Dao is good. That's what he said. I didn't learn about that from Master. All right. Okay, so the other thing to mention is during the Dao seminar. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is just to review. Right. One of the I put a little bit. I don't know if you know about that. Anyway, we'll get to that. So during the Dao blessing ceremony, you were all in here because you introduced members to come. So, but because we can't see anything, so it's just so hard to believe everything is real. One of our masters, who was also propagating Dao in other countries, so they have this lady who came with friends, and the friends wanted to have Dao blessing, but not this lady. So the lady she said to the master, I'm not interested in this, and then because your temple is so small, and then the lady say no to master. but she did ask something. She did ask, can I just see what you guys are doing before you get to the bed? I can't be there. That is the invitation to the Buddha, for all the Buddhas to safeguard this area. That's where she saw. And then so she was next to her friends in the temple there. And then so after Master, I know Master say this in pure Chinese, you wouldn't really understand. But what she said, what Master said before the Dao transmitting ceremony, she was inviting all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas to guard this area. So it will look like an umbrella or a shield, around this temple area, but we can't see. But anyway, that lady didn't want to have her Dao blessing. She was standing next to her friend, but after Master invite all the Buddhas to come, she then turned to her friend like, I would like to have my Dao blessing as well. And then Master look at her and then say to the Dao members, yes, that's fine, but we have to do the registration now. But because the Master is very experienced, he already knew something must have happened, and that makes the lady change her mind so quickly. So after the Dao blessing, before we introduce the three treasures, Master then asked the lady, I would like to ask if there's anything happened that why you change your mind so suddenly. And then the lady then confessed that she has a second sight ability since she was very, very young. So she was able to see, what's the word? Clairvoyance. So she was able to see so many things the others couldn't. And then she's from Malaysia. And in Asia, temples, big or small, are very common. So she went to so many temples. And that's why she said when she was invited to have a Dao blessing, she said no. And she said, your temple is so small. And the reason she said that was because she went to so many different temples. They're so big and magnificent. And the temple where she was at was a family temple. It's a bit like my temple, just very small. And then that's why she didn't want to. But then she said, after the invitation for all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to arrive, she started to see the Buddhas start descending, so many of them, slowly. And the more Buddhas arrived, the brighter the whole house. To begin with, just a temple, and then the whole house was like very bright. So it was so bright. That's what she saw. All the Buddhas started to descend slowly. And this is actually mentioned in one of the books from, it's not Holy Mediums, but it's more like a psyche. So there was a book in Taiwan as well, but he is not a Dao member, but he is a psyche, a trained psyche. So he always sort of like goes out, he leaves his body and goes out and travel. So one day, this is his book. So one day when he was traveling with one of the deities that I don't know who that is, so they were above, and then in his book he documented they were floating, and he saw a house that is glowing like in gold, so bright from distance. And then he then asked the deities, can we go? What happened there? What happened to the house? And then the deity said, oh, that is because the little house is now having this Dao blessing. And Dao blessing is because there's a heavenly mandate, holy teacher in there performing this blessing for people. And that's why it's glowing in gold. And then this psyche then say to the deities, can we go a bit closer? I would like to see what's happening there. And then this deity said, I wish we could, but the closer we get, the brighter it gets as well. You won't be able to see anything. And that's why when we are doing the Dao blessing, it's all protected. And this is actually mentioned in the sutra, in the platform sutra as well. We'll get there, but it's the reason I'm mentioning this is because it's all documented in different places and in different sutras, and that's why we need to explore and learn and go through as many as possible, because once we get to a point of the numbers of books or sutras, we will start to realize this actually is the same thing. Different era, different generation, different patriarchs, they're talking about the same thing. But anyway, so this is the lady, and then when she said that, and because she got friends in the temple too, the friends didn't look, approved because they didn't see anything. And then Master then asked her, so asked the lady, did you see anything happened when the heavy document was burned in the incense burner? And then she said yes. So when the document was burned, she saw three different Buddhas, looked like gentlemen Buddhas, came and to receive the heavy document, and then they just left. And then when the lady said this, two of her friends start to argue. No, we didn't. No, we didn't say anything. And that's why I put this in here. So sometimes when we hear about something that required like second sight or clairvoyance ability, it's just so hard to really believe in what people share. Yeah, like a miracle and everything. So I took this from a paper, but I'm sure we all know what that is. It's how much can human eyes see, and how much can human ears detect the noise and the sound. So the middle bit, it's between 380 to 750 Fahrenheit. So this is actually right in the middle. So with all the spectrum, we can only hear a gap of the spectrum. And that's why we can only see from, the rainbow color. Rainbow is more than 7 colors, but because we can only see these 7 colors in this gap, that's very, very tiny. That's why we sometimes, if we are listening to people sharing, especially in Dao seminar, we always have Dao members seeing their deceased families were best friends. They were there, and then but others didn't. So it's very hard for others to see. But I think this chart or this table is a very good reminder to ask ourselves, but how much can we see? How much do we think we can see? Or how much can we hear? Likewise, so when I show this painting from an artist, Indonesian artist, that is what happened during the Dao seminar. Of course, some people will say, this is just painting. Yeah, but even myself, even me, I'm a Dao member. I won't be able to paint something like that. Everything is just in my head or in my imagination, and all my imagination or coming from Dao learning, Dao books. So yeah, so that's why I put this in here. It's just a reminder to sometimes to ask ourselves, really, how much can we see? And the last question, when Master asked the lady, so did you see anything when I point my finger on your head? And then she said, yes. When you did that, I saw a very straight light coming out from the middle lamp. Very straight, because using the very long incense sticks. I saw when you did that and come to me, there's a very straight line coming from the middle lamp to my head. That's what she saw. So in here, we would like to, I don't know if you read Bible, but in Matthew chapter 3, verse 11, it says, I baptize you with water for repentance, but after me comes one who is more powerful than I, and whose sandals I'm not worthy to carry. He will baptize you with the Holy Spirit and the fire. I don't know how much Bible you are reading. I'm reading a tiny bit, but I think throughout the Bibles, there's no chapters they mention in the Bible area. Era they use fire to baptize their members. This is not mentioned. Only these chapters mentions the one comes after me. Okay, so in the Tao blessing, I'm sure you'll remember the candle in the middle light, it comes to us, and then master goes to the left and close the door. That happened. So in here, it's just to remind ourselves that something actually happened within that very brief 2 seconds. So that's a very straight line. That's what she sees in here. So when the straight line, when the long incense stick comes to us, what was in our mind? Nothing. So that is the state of mind we need to remember and be able to return. I'm not saying we won't have any thoughts in our mind, it's not possible, but try to remember the day when you were having your Tao blessing and you literally probably panic about everything because everything is so different. But in that moment, when the incense stick comes, you're actually thinking about nothing but what is that? And that is the moment of pure tranquility. And that's the moment we have to return from time to time, especially when we are meditating. I'm very conscious about time. I got 3 minutes. Okay, right. So, this is just to remind ourselves about how much video we can see, and then how much is actually right there or next to me. Okay, so this is the last slide, and I'm just going to go through this very quick. So, and this is the part of the Dao lineage, and then there are 64 patriarchs in total, and then there are three they are divided into three parts in terms of a Dao lineage. So the first part is the first 64, I know, but I only listed out the ones that we know them and the ones that we have the immediate relation with. So the first 18 Eastern patriarchs, so the first one is the author of the Book of Change, that's starting from him. And in the first Book of Change, it talked about how the world is made, how everything became together. And then the second one is the 14th patriarch, that is Lao Tzu. And what Lao Tzu talked about? Lao Tzu talked about the two, the in comparison bit. So when you have someone tall, you start to compare someone short. When you have a better life, then we start to compare about not much better life. So Lao Tzu talked about if our mind is in these two, then we will never to get back to the void, to the emptiness. So that's his teachings. And the third one is Confucius. He was the 15th patriarch. So what he talked about governance. Everything is already here. How are we going to govern? How are we going to make this work? from the government to the family to relationship and to friendships and to personality as well. I think I forgot about, I need to mention about fixing problems. I'm just going to mention this very quick. So in the previous slide, the lady who has the second sight about during the Dao blessing ceremony. I think I was going to talk about why Dao now has to be from a grandpa. If we look at grandpa, that's a big miracle, yeah. And then throughout the Dao society, miracles like this are many, numerous, from Dao members, lecturers to Dao masters, and from cancers to fixing broken families. I was going to talk about fixing broken families because I think any broken families or any broken marriages, relationships, they are the trigger or the root cause of well-being. Because I can't remember when was the last time I met someone who is from a very happy family and who have well-being problem or well-being issues. And by learning Dao, we fix so many things. And one of them is fixing broken families. And this including the marriage problems. And after they learn about Dao, they start to appreciate each other. And they start to have this capacity to not accept, but to allow things that they don't like to happen to them. And they learn from that. And gradually those difficult or uncomfortable moments, they start to reduce. It's a bit like paying out a debt. The more we accept that everything happens for their reasons, and then when this happens to me, this is my reasons. So I was when I was looking at those miracles, including curing cancers, I feel like if well-being is an issue at the moment, then we really need to look at so what is causing the well-being issue. And I look deeper. Most of the well-being issue or mental health issue coming from a very broken background. So we need to fix the background. Of course, we can provide some short-term release, but that is like putting a band-aid on a wound and it's still bleeding. So this is I was going to mention. But anyway, so in here, sorry, jumping around. This is the last slide I would really like to mention. And in the yin and yang picture, we talk about this briefly. So in the whole cycle, in the yin and yang, it takes 129,600 years to complete the whole cycle. And if we chop the yin and yang into half, so I don't know how big you can see this, but it's at 6 o'clock. That's the creation of heaven, and go to 7. That's the creation of earth, and then go to 8. That's the creation of a human. But when during the creation of heaven and the creation of earth, we weren't there yet. We start from 8 o'clock, from the third chart of the yin and yang. So if we count 1, 2, can you see my mouse on the screen? Yeah, cool. Okay, if we count from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6, 6. So the bright 6. The brighter bit of 6 is the time we have been on this earth. And each chart is 10,800 years. So if we time 10,800 times 6, we get 64,800 years. And that's how many years we have been in this world so far. And that's why we have a very different destiny. We have a very different life opportunities, because we think this 64,800 years, we have done those things that we don't even remember. So why am I mentioning this? It's because throughout this 64,800 years, Tao only appeared available 3 times. The first time is the first 18 Eastern patriarchs, and so the 18th, because in that period there were 18 patriarchs. I didn't list the rest because we know them the best, but there will be time we will look at the 64 altogether. That will require a couple more slides to get them all in. So the first 3 times. So the first one is called the green yang. So at that time, it's the green color. Why? Because it just started, and when it started, it happened in the east. And the east, the start is the beginning of everything. So the color is green. That's why it's called the green yang. And the second one is the 28 Western patriarchs. These two is actually the first one is the first disciple of the Buddha. So the Buddha passed the teaching. So he had his blessing. How many years? 2,570 years ago from now. I think the main reason why I list this is because if we look at the first patriarch, it's somewhere around 6,000 to 10,000 years. Yeah, the first one. The reason I'm listing the numbers is because from the first one, which is 6,000 to somewhere around 10,000 years, to the last one, which is our grand senior elder and our senior elder, that is just 18 years ago. So our grand senior elder and senior elder, they passed away respectively, but our senior elder who passed away in 2008, and then that's actually just 18 years ago, but they weren't patriarchs. They were the deputies for safeguarding the heavenly mandate. And that's why children and Shimu, they already returned to heaven, but we still have the opportunity to receive Tao. It's because the heavenly mandate is still on earth in this world. And only 18 years ago, it's not very far from us. And that we all like, we adore, we admire all those very wise scholars or thinkers, Lao Tzu. We admire their achievement, but what is more unique is we are learning, we are receiving exactly the same teaching that they received 10,000 years ago. And that's what makes this unique. And only we know. And the reason we know is because we have Tao blessing. And the reason we had a Tao blessing is because the heavenly mandate is still available on earth. So we know, instead of admire them, or I'm not saying we need to look down. No. Instead of spending time admire their work, we know we are just like them. We have the ability and the gift, exactly the same gift to achieve such greatness and excellence as they did. And that is the extraordinary bit of Tao. Once we know it, and once we start to utilize it and using it more and more, we basically are doing exactly the same great work as they did. And this is the extraordinary bit that we can't find anywhere else. in all the training and all the teaching? No. For the Dao cultivation, for the Dao learning, it's actually from within, and then from ourselves, and to come to the outer life. I think there's a saying called what we achieve inwardly will alter our outer reality. So everything comes from within. Once the mindset is in the right place, we of course will be able to achieve many like them. Okay, this is just to mention. And the last picture I put 4 in here. I don't know if you can see. There's a 4. So now, after Grand Senior Elder and the Senior Elder, they already passed away, and we know the deputies of Heavenly Mandate is still available in this world. In our Dao Society, in Fa Yi Chong the Dao Society, we have 4 Dao Masters. They are safeguarding the Heavenly Mandate. So what they are doing, their job is to anoint, is that a word? Anoint Dao members. They are qualified to become a Dao master after years of practice or after years of learning and devotion. So those 4 Dao masters' job is to make sure that the newly become Dao master will be able to go whichever is designated to go, and to ensure that the message of Tao has been delivered to whichever the country that newly become master. So this is just to introduce that at the moment we still have the Heavenly Mandate in this world, because the Heavenly Mandate is being not passed on, but being safeguarded. So those Grand Senior Elder and Senior Elder, they aren't patriarchs. They were just safeguarding, and because they were trustworthy, and in the year of 1975, after children passed away, she became the deputy, the patriarch to look after the Heavenly Mandate. And after Shimu passed away, Heavenly Matter came to via the handwriting for the mandate to be safeguarded by Grand Senior Elder. And after Senior Elder passed away, our holy teacher in Japan, using the handwriting, to ask Senior Elder to safeguard Heavenly Mandate. And after Grand Senior Elder returned to heaven, she didn't have a new title. She didn't have a new rank. She returned to one of her divine ranks position as the Bodhisattva of never resting. And very, very intriguingly, her name, Bodhisattva of never resting, was already written in the Lotus Sutra. I don't know if you heard that sutra, but Lotus Sutra is the king of sutras. It's the most magnificent sutra. And I never read about this sutra yet, and I would really like to. I need more time. Really, in this sutra, in the Lotus Sutra, it mentioned about Bodhisattva of never resting, and it also further revealed that Bodhisattva never resting was actually already a Buddha, like us, like you guys. She was already a Buddha, and her name, the first time when I heard her name, I was like, how did you come out with such beautiful name? Her Buddha name was the boundless brightness, the Buddha of boundless brightness, the brightness that has no boundary. There's nothing that can stop this brightness. And I think the brightness represents the wisdom and the compassion. Anyway, so because Senior Elder passed away in the year of 2008, and the Lotus Sutra was already written thousand years ago. So these are the evidence that we know we are on the right path, and we know we are learning from us, from our family, because it's already written in the sutra, and for the Bible. If we start to compare, they're actually talking about the same thing. Okay, I'm very sorry. I'm a bit late. But anyway, the last one before we go, I would like to mention about the third treasure. Just to remember. So during the Dao blessing ceremony, Master was talking a lot in Chinese, but there's one sentence that we can review today. It's the third treasure, that's the hand sign. And the Holy Teacher said, by using the third treasure, that will be able to get you out of any unexpected incidents. And the reason you can do that is because the daily cultivation that we have been doing before that unexpected incident hits. And here, sorry, this is the last one. Here is how we do it. So I talk about this all the time, the bank of miracle currencies, or the bank of turning the tables. I think I was trying to say, by doing all the cultivation that we can do on a daily basis, there are so many, there are always opportunities that we can make things better and make things work. And this is actually from our Holy Teacher. He said, this bank, how to save the money, how to save the miracle money is by accumulating merits and virtues. And this is in a very wide range, by helping others, by cultivating our temper, by saying always the nice things to others. And the second one is temperamental behaviors are deposit. I'm talking about myself. I'm like that sometimes, but I think I'm learning. But I start to feel like if I try, and I will be able to learn. And if I learn, I will be able to make things better. So deposit is a deposit of all the merits. So we are trying to make sure if we do 10 good deeds, we don't want to do one bad deeds, because the 10 good deeds will become 9. And what about if the next instant I'm going to hit is requires 10 good deeds, then that's only 9. So one missing, I'm one short. So this is just a way to remind myself. And the third one is deceit and dishonesty are loans. So this is all taking away the money from the saving account. And the fourth one, I like the fourth one, and I always encourage people to do the fourth one. Hidden virtue is a large saving. That means we do something nice without anyone knowing. But the reason for it is because human nature would like to draw attention, especially like to be praised, like to be to hear the nice things. And then, but by helping others and without anyone knowing, this is from our Holy Teacher, it's not from me, but I think this is it. By doing this, by doing all the nice things without people knowing, without having the need to brag about it, without having the need to let people know, that is the big chunk of saving. I can talk about this now because my mother already passed away. But when she was alive, she always sent money to people's funeral. And when the family didn't have enough money to afford or to buy a coffin, I didn't know, but she always did that. And that's why later I realized why she is always the lucky one. Why I'm always the unlucky one. But anyway, the fourth one. And the third one is the 3 types of giving. That's mentioned in our Dao Society as well. The 3 types of charity. One is material, that's including financial. And the second one is Dharma giving. Dharma means teaching. So if someone's feeling very blue, then we have being able to say something that's very useful, and then that will save them some time of suffering. And the third one is a fearlessness giving. So it's to do something that others try not to do it. Or sometimes if but it's based on how much knowledge that we have, is that for people who have very little knowledge, they including knowledge to life, they wouldn't believe anything that we share, and they will attack Dao Society or masters. And then fearlessness in here is to stand up, but gently, friendly, and try to untangle the the misunderstanding. But this will come in time. But yeah, so these are the ways of savings. Okay. Honestly, this is the last slide. Okay, before we before we finish today's class, any questions?
I haven't got any questions. That was yeah, lots to take on. Made a few little notes as I was going, but yeah, that was great. I haven't got any questions.
Okay, so if you have any questions or in the notes that you're making later,
Mhm.
then we can always come back to talk about it. Okay, I'm sorry, overrun again. Anyway, okay, so if we don't have any questions, and then should we all stand up? One, and then we're facing the temple, the picture, and then we take 3 bows together. First bow, second bow, and third bow. Okay, thank you so much for coming, and then have a nice evening, and then we'll see you soon. Okay.